Here's a question that should unsettle you. What if you were only allowed to see the world through a mirror, never directly, never with your own eyes, and the moment you turn to look at life face to face, it would kill you? That's the impossible bargain at the heart of Tennyson's poem, The Lady of Shalott. A woman sits alone in a tower on a river island, weaving a tapestry, watching the road to Camelot pass by in a looking-glass on her wall. She's under a curse she doesn't fully understand, and for most of the poem, she seems almost content. But this isn't just a spooky medieval fairy tale about a doomed maiden. It's one of the sharpest things ever written about the cost of watching life instead of living it. Let's look at what that mirror is really doing. First, the setup, because the geography matters. The lady lives on an island called Shalott, in a river that flows down to Camelot, the bright, busy city where everything actually happens. Knights ride past, lovers stroll, farmers reap the barley, but none of it happens where she is. She's near the current of life and completely cut off from it. Tennyson never tells us who cursed her or why. That vagueness is deliberate. The curse simply exists as a rule she's absorbed. She must stay at her loom, she must keep weaving, and she must not look down to Camelot directly. She's heard the whisper of the curse, but not its reason. So she obeys a prohibition, whose logic she's never questioned, which, if you think about it, is uncomfortably close to how a lot of us live. Now the mirror. In front of her hangs a clear glass, and the whole moving world appears in it. The highway, the horses, the village girls, the passing shadows of people going about their lives. She weaves what she sees in the mirror into her tapestry. Sit with how strange that is. She never touches the world. She copies its reflection into thread. Everything she knows arrives second-hand, reversed, framed, safely flattened into an image on the wall. The mirror keeps her from being hurt, and it also keeps her from being alive. Tennyson gives us a woman whose entire existence is mediated. She experiences reality the way we might experience it through a screen. She's a spectator to a parade she can never join, and for a long time she convinces herself that watching the reflection is enough. Here's where the poem gets pointed about art itself. What the lady weaves isn't life. It's shadows of life, images of images. She's a kind of artist, endlessly producing a beautiful web from things she's only ever glimpsed at a remove. Tennyson knew this tension intimately. Poets, after all, spend their days transforming lived experience into carefully arranged words on a page, one step removed from the mess of actually living. There's a quiet worry threaded through the whole poem. Is the artist someone who sees the world more fully, or someone who has traded direct experience for the safe, lonely work of representing it? The lady's tapestry is lovely, it's also a symptom. Every thread she pulls is proof that she's chosen the reflection over the road, the picture over the person, the observing over the being observed. Then comes a line everyone remembers. After watching a pair of young lovers pass in the moonlight, a lady says, softly, that she is half sick of shadows. Under 15 words, and it cracks the whole poem open. Half sick. Not fully. She's not ready to break the curse. Not yet. But something in her has started to starve. It's one thing to watch the world when you don't know what you're missing. It's another to watch two people in love and feel the shape of your own absence. The reflection used to be enough. Now it's beginning to taste thin. This is the moment the poem stops being about a magical curse and becomes about a very human hunger. The ache of realizing that a life spent safely observing might not actually be a life at all. And then the poem sends the most dangerous thing possible past her window. Not danger, but beauty. Sir Lancelot rides by, flashing in the sun, his armor blazing, singing to himself as he goes. Tennyson lavishes his brightest, most sensuous lines on him. Jewels, flames, dazzling light, because Lancelot isn't really a character here, so much as a temptation given a face. He is everything the mirror can only hint at, vivid, embodied, gloriously present. For a woman who has known the world only as pale reflections, he is the first thing bright enough to make the glass feel unbearably poor. Notice that he does nothing to her. He doesn't call, doesn't beckon, doesn't even know she exists. He simply passes by being fully alive. And that alone is enough to undo years of careful, curated distance. So she looks. She crosses the room, looks down to Camelot with her own eyes, and the poem detonates in 3 swift strokes. Her web floats out, her mirror cracks from side to side, and she knows the curse is upon her. That cracked mirror is the image the whole poem is built toward. The instant she chooses real seeing over reflected seeing, the mediating glass shatters. You cannot look at life directly and keep the safe reflection at the same time. It's tempting to read this as punishment, as if Tennyson is warning women to stay in their towers. But look closer. The tragedy isn't that she looked. The tragedy is that she was ever cursed to only watch. The cracking mirror isn't her sin. It's the sound of a person finally, fatally, choosing to be real. What follows is one of the most haunting endings in English poetry. The lady leaves the tower, finds a boat, writes her name on the prow, and lets the river carry her down toward Camelot, singing as she drifts, freezing in the autumn cold. She dies before she arrives. She never reaches the living city. She only floats into it as a beautiful corpse. And here's the gut punch. The people of Camelot gather around the boat, frightened, and Lancelot, the man who unknowingly drew her out, glances at her face, remarks that she has a lovely face, and asks God to grant her grace. That's all. She gave everything to enter the world of the living, and the world barely registers her. Even in death, she's an image people look at, a reflection floating past, never quite a person they truly knew. So what is the Lady of Shalott really about? I think it's a mirror held up to anyone who has ever chosen to watch their life from a safe distance, through a screen, a routine, a fear of being seen. The poem refuses to give us an easy moral. Looking at life directly cost the lady everything, but the mirror was already killing her slowly, in silence, one perfect thread at a time. Maybe that's the point. There's no version of this story where she gets to be both safe and fully alive. Here's the line I'd leave you with. A reflection can show you the whole world and still never let you touch a single piece of it. The lady chose to touch. It killed her, and it was, terribly, the first honest thing she ever did. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If this gave you a new way to see the story, subscribe to Between the Chapters. A new literary deep dive lands every week, and I'd love to have you along for the next one.